we recording?
Oh, it's so well practiced. Screw it. This is AV SuperFriends Off the Rails, an almost regularly scheduled open discussion on audio and video in higher education. We'll sound off about our most brilliant ideas, our dumbest mistakes, and everything in between. And because this conversation will almost certainly go off the rails at some point, we'll end up covering just about everything else. And now, the AV SuperFriends. It's a house of cards every time. Look at it go.
Are we going to do it again?
No, screw it. For April 10, 2026, it's the best sounding and most reluctantly AI optimized podcast in higher ed. This is the AV SuperFriends Off the Rails, episode number 135. Fighting all sorts of technical issues and broadcasting live across 4 time zones. It's the podcast that knows no proposal is complete until someone adds the words AI powered, AI enhanced, or AI enabled to a product that was already doing just fine without it. The workflows are complicated, the dashboards are unnecessary, and apparently even a small wall plate now needs machine learning. So that's fun. I'm Chris Dector. You're tuned in for another Friday afternoon podcast adventure with the AV SuperFriends, and let's say hello to today's panel. Our first panelist facilitates governance-minded conversations about innovation so the university can appear both bold and deeply afraid at the same time. He's a coordinator for responsible AI transformation from Kansas City. Say hello to Mr. Jamie Reinhart.
It's a tough job.
Hey, someone's got to do it.
Somebody has to do this.
Our next panelist leads cross-campus efforts to insert AI into existing initiatives, whether or not those initiatives were even asking for it, which is almost kind of true. He's a director of generative learning innovation enablement from Corvallis, Oregon. Say hello to Mr. Mark Kolowazinski.
I walk the AI physically across campus and install it on the different endpoints.
I have people skills.
It's literally cross-campus AI installation.
Our next panelist ensures the institution is fully prepared to explore AI in thoughtful, strategic, and almost entirely non-specific ways. He's an associate vice provost for applied academic AI readiness from Greensboro, North Carolina. Say hello to Mr. Larry Darling.
Trying to get AI to come up with a snarky comment because I'm incapable of independent thought at this point.
I thought you were just getting snark. I just can't do snark.
Hey, I sent you guys the link to SnarkBot. So,
yeah.
And our final panelist advances student success through carefully branded AI pilots that produce 3 dashboards, 4 forums, and no obvious outcomes. He's a vice president for AI Enhanced Student Experience Optimization from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Say hello to Mr. Justin Rexing.
Yeah, the students stopped showing up.
It's just AI.
AI does that for you.
Yeah. Happened pretty quick.
You guys ever see the old film Real Genius, where during the course of the montage, they start with, students start replacing themselves with tape recorders. This was the 80s. And then eventually the professor replaces himself with a tape recorder. So it's just tape recorders playing the tape recorders. It's just AI
turtles all the way down.
Yeah. Sounds like the future.
Pretty much, just AI. So soon it will be, I've prepared this AI bot to give today's lesson, and then your AI bot will go listen to that, summarize it, and then give you information back. So
soon? This is now.
I've been doing shit. I don't even know how I did it. Like, how did that happen?
Just chat the AI bot, and he'll grade your paper too. And
yeah, ask the AI graduate assistant. It'll figure it out. So on today's show, we're going to discuss why our stuff is so darn expensive and how we like to configure our lecterns and teaching stations. But first, some housekeeping. So if you're listening to this as a recorded MP3, remember we do stream live on Fridays at about 3:15 Eastern or 12:15 Pacific, or later today, or whenever Mark's internal AI scheduling engine finally finishes processing. You can join us live for that on Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So for those of you watching it right now, that's where you are. Go tell a friend. If you can't join us live, please do follow us on the socials. We're on Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Blue Sky. Just search for AV SuperFriends. There's another one out there. It's fake. Don't believe it. We're better.
What?
You can follow us on the socials to keep up with the latest updates, news, show news, whatever product in the industry. This stuff full of AI for no apparent reason. We'll talk about it there. Please do spread this word. Please do spread this word. I'm going to start this whole damn show over. Share this podcast with your friends, colleagues, enemies, perfect strangers, and anyone else who's tired of hearing the phrase AI powered slapped onto things that worked perfectly the day before. And if you want to support the show, please consider donating. Your contributions help us keep bringing you the honest content that you love or love to hate, because I know we do have some hate listeners out there. Otherwise, we're going to have to replace ourselves with 6 AI-generated podcast hosts trained entirely on sarcasm and AV-related disappointment. Pretty much this show already, but
Yeah.
Let's see how
otherwise
it
we'll
goes.
just be the AI version. Which
Wanna try
maybe
these
we should just do
polls?
an AI version.
We have a new poll feature. You guys saw that. That AI gave us that today.
Yeah, I have no idea how that even works.
wanna
You can also
try
make a
it? You wanna
QR
try it
code that
live?
just shows
Let's
up
do it.
nowhere. So.
Let's do it.
You can find the
Probably
donation link in the show notes of this episode if you're listening to it recorded, or it's on our website, and you can go do that. So, and we do want to hear from you. So if there's a topic you'd like us to cover, or something we're just really, 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 really wrong about, send us an email at mailbag@AVSuperFriends, or find us on the socials and ping us there. And finally, wherever you're listening, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever, please leave a rating and review, because that feedback helps more people find the show. And even if the algorithm is too busy recommending just general AI slop, you know who you are. At least this will help a little bit. So there we are. Speaking of AI slop, if you missed our last episode, here's this.
If you missed the last episode of Off the Rails, congratulations! You skipped nearly an hour of grown adults voluntarily diving into AV network security, which is apparently what passes for entertainment when your hobbies include VLANs, bad firmware, and trust issues. This episode dragged in a whole crowd to talk about AV trust, insecure black box hardware, cloud-connected nonsense, rebadged junk, and the thrilling reality that half the industry has been plugging mystery devices into campus networks and just sort of hoping nobody important notices. There's a lot of smart discussion here, but it's also the audio equivalent of 6 guys standing around a flaming lawnmower saying, "Well, that seems bad." So if you enjoy hearing higher ed AV people calmly explain that the industry may be one firmware update away from disaster, while also making jokes about unmanaged switches, ransomware, sketchy vendor documentation, and security by pure denial, this one's for you. And if you skipped it, whatever you were doing instead was almost certainly less informative and somehow even more embarrassing. Catch up on all the episodes you've missed at avsuperfriends.com.
So there you go. That's what we did last time.
That was a little bit snarky.
It sounds about right.
Sounds about right. So, and now, since you've waited for it for this has been 3 weeks since we've done an Off the Rails. We've done a bunch of 5th Fridays and 7th Fridays and 1st Fridays and all that.
A whole
so.
run of extra Fridays for a moment.
Extra Friday stuff just jammed in there. Now Justin's going to sing along live with the news theme.
Yeah.
It's everyone's favorite segment to hate on is the news segment. And today's news comes from AV Magazine at avinteractive.com. The title is, link in the show notes down there. The title is, "There is no AV over IP 2.0. This label does not match reality." And it's basically a position statement saying that there's some consulting firms and some manufacturers pushing that hey, we're in a new generation of AV over IP. It's all cloud connected. There's all sorts of live monitoring going on. There's all sorts of additional services you can get tied into this stuff. We really need to plan for that. And this is someone else pushing back saying, hang on a minute. We don't even have the other stuff stood up. And do people even need all that stuff?
No.
That's the article.
No. Not anymore.
Well, it depends. There was a lot of clamor over interoperability there for a 15-minute period not long ago. And we heard a lot of, it's going to be the year that the open that new standard is going to...
Every year is that year.
Yeah. We need one more standard. We're one standard away from stitching all this stuff together.
You know what drives this stuff is sales.
Right. That's kind of what I was getting at. This feels like we go out and buy it because we're one firmware and it's going to happen. We're all going to be compatible and we're going to just shoot it to the cloud and walk away. No, we're not.
This sounds really ridiculous.
Well, and the interoperability thing, that has been bandied about for many years. We IPMX, and there's the, what's the other one? I don't know. But for most people...
Pick one. They're all their own pool of nonsense, trying to get everybody else to get in the pool.
If I go buy from this list of new encoders and decoders, I can make them interoperable with other decoders encoders on the list. But I already do that with whichever ecosystem I'm currently in.
We have the same problem today.
Yeah. I have interoperability as long as I stay within that list. So again, I understand where they're going with this, but it ain't going to happen because the people who are dragging their feet because they can sell their proprietary encoders and decoders ain't going to play.
So tell me, does my DM thing work with your DM thing?
Depends on the DM thing.
Which flavor of DM, sir? Because my last count, I believe there's 5.
Yeah.
curious if that was interoperable.
If only there was this thing that had like 5 things that it would do, and it would hold the things together, and it did like some kind of consortium, like an HD based something that did a lot of that stuff, we'd be in a good spot.
HD based Mr. T.
Yeah.
No, I think the clamoring for a 2.0 or whoever that was, because of cloud is definitely not the thing.
Yeah. Like some of the work, Mark, you've been doing shows the cloud-based stuff might not be the answer anyway.
I feel horrible for convincing people maybe it was late last year. Things have changed in the last 6 months. I think cloud is it's raining down.
When you got the bill for that cloud stuff?
Well, there's that. There's some cloud billing going on, but I think there's a lot to overcome that is just outside the reach of AV proper into the network. That it's not AV manufacturers to push that. It's larger IT security and the like that is going to drive that. And I don't think it's really smart to think all of your stuffs are going to be connected to the cloud for core operations. If you want to do dashboarding or whatever by way of cloud, go ahead. But I don't think you need to be paying that amount of money to do it.
The one thing I found in the article that I thought was weird was it said that larger enterprise places would find more value in the cloud than like these smaller like one-offs. And I actually think that's flipped, because I can see Justin seeing a lot of value in putting all of his client stuff on the cloud so that he can get to them and he can offer the support. But I can see the university aspect of it not.
I think it was written backwards. It was misinterpreted from the AI bot. It was the AI, the cloud manufacturers find a lot of value in the enterprises moving their stuff to the cloud because they have more of it. However, the small ones do not.
Well, and there is something to be said, Larry, to that point for like for managed service providers to be able to connect up those things, and we've talked about that in the past, and I think that definitely is a market for somebody in the case of Justin's other identity. You may have 2 or 3 spaces at 20 different locations, and being able to loop that into some sort of monitoring system might make sense, which is probably why he's building one right now.
And
it's not really cloud connect. I don't know.
Well, not now, but if you didn't know what you know now, maybe.
Knowledge is key.
And I think it's still, even the cloud-based and interoperability go together as well. Because even if we get outside of protocols, right, even it's just interoperability within the cloud services to talk to the other things that may not be within your purview. So it's not even just the transport stream, it's the control streams, it's the how it is the cloud-based system. Like, how does that interop? And all of that goes together, and I don't see much progress in trying to. Everybody talks like they want to bring it together, and then they just don't.
It just sounds expensive.
Labor intensive. Years ago, SDVOE, we thought maybe it would do it. But even within SDVOE, there's this maybe nots. It might work, it may not.
On the cloud? In the cloud?
No, like interoperability, that you could take this company's SDVOE box and you could. Some do, yes. So, but again, some don't. But they use the same thing. It's HD based T. It's what wrapper they put it in today. It's like, come on. Are we going to do this or not? But there is no 2.0 unless we're going to do this.
I think, look at like WebRTC, right? You ever had a Teams room call with a Zoom room call and see how they negotiate with WebRTC in between? You get the minimum quality product they'll agree on.
It is.
I think if we're going to do 2.0, that's what you're going to get.
It's the least common denominator.
Right. Yeah,
you're going to get the least.
10 some years ago, you're on the WebEx call and like someone calls in like on their phone from somewhere, and now the whole thing gets crushed down.
Everybody drops.
And so I would believe a future that looks kind of fragmented that way might be a thing. Here's the worst thing we can all agree on, because I'm not giving up my market share to accommodate you.
It's gain sharing internet, buddy. Gain sharing internet.
Oh, geez.
Anyway,
I think we have that. You want me to swap out that commercial?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I think people are interested in kind of rebranding upcoming features and new features, but there is no defined set of these.
People are just making up stuff just to sell something new.
So here's the question.
Ooh.
Are we
Something
going to
shiny.
see anybody at Infocom branding their stuff as AV over IP 2.0?
Yes.
AV over IP
Probably.
Ajax.
Plus,
Yeah, plus. I was just saying we need
Yeah,
like
plus,
a
plus,
premium
Ajax
plus,
plus.
plus blanding.
Premium edition.
Premium. Ooh.
That's going to get old.
ad free.
Even more cloud-based.
Ad free. Yes. Or yeah, you could go for the ad tier, and then you get your content's just in the upper right corner, and everything else is just ad supported.
That's
So
a
it's
great idea.
Teams.
We can fix all those 16 by 10 projection screens that consultants keep putting in ad banners.
Yes,
Are
both
you
on
looking
top,
for
bottom.
material
Let's
to
go.
fill into
Just
that extra
stickers.
21 by 9 spot you have on the width of your screen? We
Yeah,
can
or
sell these
21 by
ads
9
to
on the
fill this
sides.
in.
Yeah. For
Ads.
those of you who ordered one of those and are not using your pixels,
It-
here we
God
go.
forbid you share a portrait mode screen from your phone or something, then the rest of the screen is
Our
You know-
encoders take care of that for you automatically, though. They inject ads right there.
Could it also auto detect 4.3 PowerPoints and put stuff on the sides?
Yes.
These are all great ideas.
there's
Other
some,
random 4.3 PowerPoints.
there is some company out there going, this is freaking genius.
I'm sure it exists, but if not,
Oh,
I'm going to go build it right
will.
now. So, all right. Well, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about why the stuff that we keep building is so expensive and why people on campus really, really, really don't like the numbers we give them. In a minute. The AV SuperFriends are supported by Computer Comforts, and they've got a brand new product hitting the lineup. Last year, CCI's Evolve Lectern was a big hit, a push-button power table combined with a super flexible AV cabinet. But let's be honest, not every room needs 24 units of rack space. Shocking, I know. And that's where the new AV Hub comes in. It's a lighter, more space-efficient solution for classrooms that still need real AV infrastructure. You get 8 units of rack space, and the whole thing sits only about 10 inches off the wall, which makes it a great fit when you're pairing it with a sit-stand power table instead of building a massive lectern footprint into the room. And this wasn't designed in isolation. The AV Hub was developed in collaboration with Texas State University, so it's built around real higher ed classrooms and real deployment needs. And that means fewer compromises, cleaner installs, and way less, why is this furniture the size of a refrigerator? If you want to see photos, specs, and all the details, head over to computercomforts.com/AV-hub. That's the new AV Hub from Computer Comforts. Purpose-built, space-efficient, and designed for how classrooms actually work. And thanks again to Computer Comforts for supporting the AV SuperFriends. All right, let's get into it. Oh, wait, almost forgot.
Topic. Talk. Hot takes. Topic 1 starts now.
Get 'em in
All
there.
right,
We
topic
paid for
1.
'em. No,
That was Jeffrey Tambor. It's worth every penny.
love it.
No
Who's
idea
the
who
penny?
that is.
Who that-
This
who's
comes up
that?
every once in a while. Yes. I love when Chris
Brian?
drops it. Everybody's like, crickets, what? Who?
do I know him?
At least a penny.
Your neighbor?
All right, so I'm sure it's that time of year. It's towards the end of the fiscal year. All these people keep reaching out. Is there any way we can? Do you have any possibility? We've got some money. Can we spend something? Can we encumber some of these funds? And you turn some quick numbers around, just give them some high level budget, and they come back and like, whoa, $6,000 for that?
We were thinking
12,000,
we
14?
had like $600. We were thinking like maybe we could redo 2 classrooms.
This happens every day.
So I guess it's that question of how do we get beyond the conversation of we're just providing stuff, because that's all we do. I've literally had somebody on my campus say, just throw some TVs on the wall.
Bad.
Cool. I'm going to change my email signature to that. The TV thrower guy. How do we get beyond that to we're not providing you stuff. Anyone can go buy stuff. We're providing you we're creating a solution. We're creating something for you that will meet a need for your meeting space, your teaching space, your event space, whatever it is. Stop focusing on the fact that yes, that's a 98-inch TV or LCD commercial grade monitor, and it costs more than you were expecting because you looked at stuff on Amazon.
I think people are just used to what they're used to at home. And that's what they've experienced. Like a lot of people, like Chris, don't watch a lot of TV. So if you don't into technology and you don't watch a lot of TV and you're a faculty member and you're maybe just shocked at, I don't know. It's just,
Yeah,
it's old. I don't
think
know.
some of it is we don't provide product that is an everyday person's shopping list.
Yep.
when
It's
they
not
need
what
a
they know at home.
Yeah, when they need a TV every 2 or 3 years, they look it up, they go to Costco, or they buy the one that's on sale. They're not shopping all the time. They're not providing all the time. It's not like they go to the grocery store and
I
say,
don't
"Oh,
know.
milk went up 47 cents," or
I'll be honest, I don't know a lot of people that are just generic consumers that replace their TV every 2 or 3 years.
right. And I think
I
that
think
was
rough
they
on
might
his- yeah,
like
Jamie's
it's
rough
probably
on his
going
TVs.
dim and it's got hot spots in it and it's on its last leg and they're like, I don't see a problem with this. This is perfectly fine to me.
and it's not even like
know.
when you go over to your most of us, when you go over to your friends or family and you go, "Oh, that's a big TV," they go, "Well, it cost me $40,000." Not usually, because one, it was either so cheap you go, "Whoa, that was cheap. Did you steal it?" Or you have that much discretionary income that you just bought a television that you never watch. They don't want to be judged that way. And I think there's just a disconnect between what we offer. Unlike, I mean, cars, you spend a lot of money on, but you always see the advertisements. There's not a whole lot of advertisements on the out there. It's like,
But cars are relative. Like you're a
Well-
generic consumer and you go in, you're shopping for a Buick like I do or whatever. You got a baseline price. And then those other people that shop for different brands, they don't go to those car lots.
yeah.
You know, it's just
I just find some of it is that the pricing is based upon Black Friday advertisements and just an ignorance of what this stuff does really cost when you get to a scale the size that we're using.
Yeah,
I think
it's
we're
the total
solving for
cost
different
of
things.
ownership.
I think to the casual person that's calling and saying, "Hey, throw a TV on my wall," in their mind, it's big image on wall. That's their utility. They really don't care that you're trying to balance install schedules and sanity and support and long-term ownership, things like that. So they're just not solving for the same thing.
Yeah, and like part of it, at least here, the initial funds comes from that department, but once we install it, we're responsible for supporting it. And so that total cost of ownership really falls a little bit to us. And that's why when we go in and we require commercial grade 16 hours a day to displays, like it's up to us to make that case that that's why we need it. But at the end of the day, the client necessarily doesn't feel that pain. It's just us trying to protect ourselves.
I mean, this ties in a little bit to refresh cycles because of budgeting, and that's kind of a big issue on our campus. Larry is, I mean, we literally have 30 or 40 MPS 100 still in production, and you go to those people and they're like, "We want to update our classroom," and you're like, "Yeah, you're going to spend more than $5,000 here." You're like, well, "I was thinking about $1,000," and those things they just don't get updated, and they just deal with them. So you know, you just got to let those things die and let those TVs die, and just, I guess they can replace them themselves with whatever they find at Amazon and Best Buy.
But are we guilty in that? And like, do we advertise that we're like solutions, or do people just see us as the whole, like, buy the thing, install it?
They on our campus, we're IT. We're equal to, you know, boots on the ground IT. And so in my eyes, they see us as the same quality of like your Spectrum cable TV installer that comes to your house that is wearing jeans, it's all dirty because crawling in crawl spaces, and like, hey, run this cable and just make my TV work. Just why is this so hard? You know, that's how they see us.
We advertise ourselves as solutions, like in ServiceNow, the service catalog. We are if you want an AV project, call us. The problem is they see that, but then they can also go to the punch out and go to Amazon or go to B&H and look at products. And so our solution versus a product, it's not an apples to apples comparison, but it's easy for them to try to make that comparison.
And it's not just the product. It's pathways, power, data. That's a big part of our cost too, is just to run one power outlet normally is like $1,000 right now on our campus for, you know, bringing a contractor because facilities ain't going to do it. That whole spiel, they're just shocked by the overall number, you know, and we don't really break down our proposals in line items. So when they see, well, I just asked for a TV, why is this $5,000? Well, you know, the TV was actually $3,000 and it's an 86 and it's pretty cheap, but you have all this other shit on top of this to make your
Yeah.
TV actually fit on the wall and not have cables everywhere. It's even that simple they don't get.
I think there's some dark arts going on there that a lot of people see. Like they're like, well, you AV folks, like, you're doing all that stuff, and I don't think a lot of folks understand that there's code pieces and legal pieces into this. A lot of folks at home are okay with cables and nonsense hanging out, strewn across the floor and plugged in.
I've seen it on Zoom calls. You're right.
And so what happens is they think, they're like, I just wanted that on my TV. I'm okay with the cables and all that stuff. And they lose track that, hey, this is a public institution. This is more of a commercial grade. You have to account for the legality of what you're asking. No, I can't zip tie off to that surface mounted power chase that's in there. But in their mind, they can do that at home. And that's literally their expectations of their
Mark,
office.
These same people don't own a vacuum. They're like, what do you mean? I don't vacuum my carpet. Why would you do that?
What?
I mean, if you got cables laying all over the
Just throw it
floor,
away when it's dirty.
how far does it go with that type of lifestyle and
Well,
what
that's
they're
what I'm
used to? That's what I'm saying is just like,
That's
Their
not
utility
fair.
is-
You
what-
shouldn't just don't come
Oh,
over and
yeah,
look at
I'm
what I
assuming.
do because
I'm assuming.
And I've had that conversation with admin. They order a thing and they come back like, why was this $5,000? I just wanted the TV on there. It's like, we had to put power in there. And she's like, well, if I would have known it than that, I just would have said run an extension cord. I'm like,
Yeah, just we
yeah,
run the
I
extension
get
cords
that,
over the
but that's
ceiling
not-
all day
You can't
long.
do that.
Just hook it
Problem
through the
with that.
wall.
Yeah, I can. I just did it over here. I actually had that conversation on our campus. Well, sure you can. I just got a ladder. It's real easy.
Yeah, they
course I
want to
can
show
do
you
it.
what it takes to actually move the tile and do it. It's not a can or can't. It's just a will or won't.
I was in 2 conference rooms this morning, and it started with the typical. And I posted this for you guys in our Discord chat, but a couple of weeks ago, where somebody said, they started by asking a colleague, hey, you guys have nice conference rooms. We want a conference room like that in our space. Actually, 2 of them. Who do we contact about that? And this person said, okay, first of all, you don't want our type of conference rooms. You want better ones. Contact Chris and his team, and they will come over and install a better one that works more reliably, is easier to use, et cetera, which was a really nice endorsement from this person because the conference rooms they have are ridiculously overbuilt, consultant-driven, integrator-installed conference rooms with every possible bell and whistle, which means they fell apart immediately. So I went to this space today assuming, okay, we're talking about a typical basic conference room. We're looking at a conferencing bar, a large display, laptop, and PC connection and all the rest. Just very straightforward stuff. And they had built their own, and it was kind of this like, do I need to try to use any of this stuff? And it was like cables zip tied across stuff, and somebody screwed little hardware store anchors into brick walls, and just kind of like, at a certain point, please stop what you're doing because you're just making things worse. And the good news is the folks I was meeting said, no, we don't. This can all go away. I'm like, good. And then as like behind a door, there's like an old monitor and there's TVs all over. It's just kind of like, please stop when you get to that point. But it's like, at the end of the day, yes, what we're going to provide them is exactly what they ask for. But and all they're going to see is like, oh, over here I have a USB-C cable, and over there's a big display on the wall. They don't see all the rest of the work that goes into it, all the pathway, the power, the coordination, all the stuff that happens. So you do end up with this very simple looking final product. And maybe that's part of the problem. What we provide is so, let's say, well coordinated, elegantly installed, all the rest. They don't see all the crud, all the junk that goes behind it, all the odds and ends and cables and power and data and all that stuff. They just, oh, look, there's a TV over there and there's a speaker over there and I can plug in over here and there's a computer over there. It's like, well, but this is all tied together. Also, they're in this particular case, both these conference rooms are in like one of the oldest buildings on campus, so it's all concrete and brick, and good luck getting anything into any walls. So that'll
Got the answer.
Just drag it across the
You
floor.
made me think of the answer to all this, Chris.
Wireless.
So on our campus, there's been a little bit of a culture change recently, very, very recently,
Speakers? We're doing
like
speakers
in
now?
the last year.
Audio.
Ramp model?
where almost, but
Consultants everywhere.
yes. The consultants have solved our problem for us about IT's too
Because
expensive.
they're even more expensive.
Wow. We are so much cheaper than consultants now. And people are starting to hear and realize that. And these colleges know what happened to our College of Business and see how overspec'd it was and see that it actually has problems still. And maybe the IT group actually knows what they're talking about. And we are starting to see a little bit more buy-in now the past year-ish with our prices and estimates and how we're doing stuff. So all you need to do is just hire an expensive ass consultant, let them run wild on your campus for like a year, and then kick them off, and then everybody will appreciate you. You're like, hey.
But is it too late? Everybody has buy-in, but they're all broke. So it doesn't really matter at this point.
How
Well,
often
but they
does that
appreciate
process
you
need
now.
to be repeated? Like, do you have to bring the consultant
Well,
back
so it
every other
depends
year?
on, well, good question, Larry. So it all depends on your turnover at the university. So if you have high turnover and your leadership goes away, you have to teach them again. So if your president and VPs all leave every 3 to 5 years, then you're going to have a consultant there every 3 to 5 years to teach the new, leadership regime, if you will,
Is that just the cost of
how to
doing business?
appreciate you.
Is that justifying your cost just by others failing? Is that what's happening?
I think so.
Good
Which
to
I
know.
kind of hoped, I didn't hope that this would happen. I just hope that if one, silver lining to all this is that maybe people would appreciate us a little bit more. And I think it's actually happening.
I think there is some truth to that, whether or not it's consultants or an integrator or
Oh, it's very much
even-
consultants here.
even
that-
a client mistake where they get to a point that we do come in and we do help them be like, oh, well, okay, so this is what happened here. We can do this. We can do that. By the way, this all, because I've had an integrator come in and do like oversell, and he's like, well, we took out all of this. Oh, well, I didn't realize they sold us all of that. It's okay. We got you. And just that
What'd you do
building
with
that
it?
rapport.
We yeeted it into the river.
Well, a lot of it was like, this is actually all really good stuff. You just didn't need 3 of them.
Yeah.
So there is some, some relationship repairing that can be done, even when they do it themselves and they realize, oh, whoops, maybe it was more difficult than I thought, or, oh, that's why the Al camera doesn't work in a 400-seat auditorium. And
But
it's
the
that
key
kind of-
is,
you have
Jamie,
to fail to go forward.
when that happens, the key is to put those I told you so's right in your pocket and just leave them
Oh,
there.
I have a list of I told you so.
Well,
they
just
come out
keep them there.
frequently.
Don't pull them out because that's going to lose buy-in.
Justin, what about a little
I wouldn't-
sticker with your face on
Yeah.
it saying, I
Oh,
told you so?
no.
Yeah,
Now,
just leave it
behind
there.
the scenes,
I throw I
to
told you
various
so's
people.
around like
An
middle
email.
fingers. I
Yeah.
mean, it just boom,
But-
you got one.
Yeah,
AVSF stickers, let's just say, I told you so. We're going to have them hand them out. Infocom.
new sticker.
Now I got to
idea.
write this down too.
Yep.
So going back to like the original concept of this, are there times where the stuff we do propose is actually just too expensive?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes, not always.
No, I think especially over the last couple of years, I think every single one of us on this call have kind of gotten into this. Maybe we don't need what we used to buy. Maybe we can pare that down. Maybe we don't need a whole DSP processor and special microphones and everything for a conference room.
Maybe we
the,
don't
the
need
sound
audio.
bar is adequate enough. Maybe we don't need a full control system. Maybe we just need.
Just give them the remote,
button.
Jamie.
We always need a control system.
But I think that
Another show. Is this another show?
Only if
but-
it's AV over IP 2.0 compatible.
No,
Yeah.
that-
Oh,
that
right.
hurts
But I
all
think
the
Mark,
cloud.
I think that's right on. Is that even we've started to recognize that there is a limit, and we're pushing it a lot. And how come my room has to continue just because it cost $26,000 last year? Does it need to this year? Why? I mean, we know our
Inflation.
labor costs are going up. There's some things we can't control when you do charge labor and stuff. But on the equipment side, like Larry, we were talking about it a few minutes ago. Like I have some update projects coming up. I couldn't believe they approved. And honestly, it's because 3 years ago when I proposed that update, it was twice as expensive. And now it's not because we use Cat 5 everywhere. It's just unclick the first black box and click in a new black box and we're off and running. Not a whole lot of change,
I think,
but it does
I
improve stuff.
I do think functionality over time has gotten cheaper.
I
with
think
our
for
AV
the
gear.
core stuff, I think a lot of the commodity costs has come down for what we
Like
can
when we
do.
design a system holistically to give them or whoever a certain feature set and capability, I think that has become overall cheaper.
Well, I feel like there's something in there as a thread of designing something so that it works the way we want it to work
There.
versus designing or letting something happen the way the client expects it to actually work. And oftentimes our standards are based on like what we want our sanity to be built on, because we're afraid that they're gonna do something where it's the what if. What if this thing gets weirder? What if they do that? Then we need this tool that we can parachute in and pull the ripcord and the whole thing resets and boom, and the life raft is out there. But that looks different from just like a TV on a wall. And sometimes I think we build around workflows that we want to trust and want to do, and we're not necessarily listening. Sometimes they just want the simple thing with 2 HDMIs on it that they can just remote control and do the things. But we're reluctant to let them do that because we want them to operate that technology the way we think it should work, as opposed
That should
to
be
letting
filtered
them do
out
it.
during needs analysis and setting expectations.
Well, even then,
But,
like I'm not.
but if it's the
gonna let
last minute
them-
call, like Chris said, hey, we got the last end of your money. Like, what's your standard thing? And it's like, well, are you asking me for the standard thing?
Well,
Or you're
that's
asking me for your
different. That's
thing?
an
And that's-
estimate versus design.
Right. But that's the minutia that all this gets washed out in.
Yeah, and part of that comes to who's supporting it. Like if they're taking care of the care and feeding, yeah, I give them some leeway. But if my group is in charge of taking care of the equipment and supporting them when a new person walks in, like it's got to fall in line with what we do.
So
Is
To
support
you all-
how to use?
Well,
Oh,
what was that? Sorry?
That's
Finish,
one
Mark.
variable
Finish it.
of many.
Yeah.
So support is training and how to use the stuff.
That
Support
falls
is
under
how
our support.
Yeah. And I might be sending a student, and that student needs to know, okay, this is like every other conference room that we've rolled out there. So there's a baseline.
now, in the same thing, are we also guilty of this? My example being, when we have companies that says, okay, we can give you a room's license. And I mean, I was just complaining about this earlier this week, in our planning sessions. Like, look, oh, well, the Zoom license was all right, but then, well, that's per year, per contract year. Hold the phone. Wait a minute.
Mhm.
I mean, so yeah, I'm a little guilty of it too. What does a service fee cost? What does a subscription cost? Digital signage, what's the subscription cost? There's some software subscriptions and things we're always talking about the AI ones and stuff. All of a sudden there's these hidden costs that it's not just the television. It's great. You have cloud services. It's a measly $4 billion a year. Well, somebody's got to foot that bill, and we get the shock of it also. But are we guilty of the same thing that our clients are? Like, oh my God, a TV costs $6,000, and we're like, hell no, I'm not spending that license fee.
No,
Well,
I think that's
I
just.
think it's apples and oranges because our fees
Yes.
are from a hardware standpoint, and even the license fees, entitlement fees, software fees, whatever you want to call it, you roll into projects is a one-time hit to somebody.
I
some
think
of them aren't.
our biggest
I
complaint
mean,
with that is
the
just
way I
make
bill
it
it is
simpler
one time.
to procure. Like, why make all these extra part numbers? Just build it into your damn thing and let us move on. Like,
Well, I'm just talking about even just like, again, like a Zoom Rooms fee, right? I mean, that is a per room, per seat annual cost. So do you pass that along? Do you pre-charge for the whole thing and hold it and pay it out of your budget? I mean, there's certain reoccurring costs in that avenue. Let's say you are running one of these online aggregate services that want to charge you per device. I mean, how do
No.
you pass that along? Or is the reason we're not buying them the exact same thing that we're talking
Yeah,
about
the,
right
the,
here?
the billing,
That's
the
different,
multiple
yeah.
billing
The billing's
challenges
broken.
involved
Nobody's
in that
figured it out
is-
yet. They don't have it
is,
right.
is a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just like, I have a sticker shock with some of that stuff sometimes too. I'm like, oh, holy crap. Because I know somebody's going to foot the bill for that, whether it's my client or myself. So how does this work?
I think that's different than a stuff conversation. That's an experience and service and platform thing that is that always decouples itself from like, hey, I just thought I was getting a TV with a sound bar on the wall. Why? What's this other thing? But that's when we kind of get into these history conversations. Well, 15 years ago when dinosaurs roamed the earth, this used to cost you $60,000. And you're like, oh, yeah, I guess, right, those old telepresence rooms are blah, 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 blah. And when you start breaking things down, you're paying for that experience. How do you want to get there? Where's the premium? Where's the baseline? Where's the economy seating in this experience? And that most people are shopping with economy in mind. We're trying to meet halfway somewhere between sanity of support versus picture on wall. And it is conversational. I think what we're doing is informing, like, this is what it takes to run something at an enterprise level and have these kind of cadences of support and whatever it may be, versus just running down to the wherever box store and just throwing something on a wall just to have your digital picture frame.
Stupid digital picture.
So there's one very closely related item to all of our stuff, to our solutions, that people don't seem to ever have problems footing the bill for.
I know this one.
Furniture. So these two
Oh, I
rooms
need this $15,000 desk.
Right.
Don't
So
don't
these two
you
rooms
dare
I was-
try to take away this
These
$15,000
two rooms I was in
desk.
today that had cobbled together stuff, zip tied onto the walls and all sorts of stuff, had brand new and very nice task chairs and a conference table and a credenza in both rooms. You can look at them and just know that they clearly laid out in the last few months $50,000 in furniture for this. And yet when I come back and say, and the technology component for this is going to cost you $6,000 or $8,000, they are going to throw a fit. And it's just like-
Sometimes, Chris, that's because you just came second. So,
Well, but
like,
Your
regardless-
budget was the same budget as furniture. They just spent that first.
yes. And they're like, oh my God, our money's gone and we did half our project. Well, you should have coordinated a little bit better with your project manager, I guess.
You should have bought
And that
standing
happens
desks.
a little
Well,
bit
you're
of the time
assuming
on
there
our
was a
campus.
project manager involved, because
Yeah,
usually it's
yeah.
all different.
This wasn't a large enough project to qualify for a project manager.
That
We
doesn't
were
happen
thinking a couple
here.
$100. Yeah.
I'm just curious what you guys, when you run into that, where that's a $20,000 boardroom table in here. Oh, we don't have
We-
enough for the larger display.
I
Let's
don't-
dial that way back. I'm like,
We
don't
run
think
into that quite a bit based on how we do projects. When we meet with our facilities team with the client, we talk about space renovation. I've got 3 or 4 of these on my books right now where we have to value engineer because we all discuss furniture and AV at the same time, and we send our price to facilities and they put it all together as a package, and then they send it to the client with our scope of work and theirs. So by doing that allows us to then say, okay, well, we're over budget by 20 grand. Let's go back to the drawing table and figure out how to remove 20 grand out of both scopes. And then it kind of becomes a bartering system where, you know, facilities like, well, how much technology can you take out? Like, well, and I'm like,
All
how
of
many
it.
chairs can you take out? Can you just not do the lights, you know? And then we have that discussion. But
our interior design and furniture better at saying no. Like, no, this is your choice.
No, they're better at
they
sending.
try.
They send people with swatches and color samples and all
They
this shit to
try.
the dean's office, and they're like, "Look at what we can do." And
Yeah.
they're there, and that dean's involved with that. And they're like, "Oh, no, I love this table. I love this wood on this table." So they're invested in this emotionally into this room. That's set in stone. That money, we can spend the entire budget. Chris will come along and figure out a way to make it work later on. Like,
And they're
that's the deal.
And they're actually sending salespeople where we're sending curmudgeonly engineers.
Yeah, we're sending
Hey.
spreadsheets and cost over. We're like, these guys are just too expensive. I wish they worked more like the other people who came in here.
yeah,
with
we don't have
swatches and
our
all this fun
colorful
stuff.
pamphlets and, you know,
Maybe
the
that's what we need
fabric
to
you
do.
can
Maybe we need to-
feel. And
to lean into that style and show up with pre-rendered perspective drawings and things of like, this is what your new room's going to look like.
we do.
Goggles, Chris.
but-
VR experience.
VR
You
goggles will
need
solve
this.
it all.
That's
I'll
how
wait
they-
out in the hall and punch people in the teeth.
These experience centers, every one of the integrators have the experience room. Every one of them.
Well-
every one of the Best Buys has one of those.
But do you
Come
see yourself
listen to-
as
But
sales?
we
that's,
have-
that's the question. Do you see
No.
what
We
you're
have-
doing as sales?
No, I don't. But
I do.
okay.
Well, I do
My
that.
example is like I've been trying to pitch some of these direct view all-in-one systems to some clients because it really is the best fit for them. Yes, they are a little bit more expensive, but it is the best fit for them. And it was a no. But then I convinced, my boss, I'm like, well, just let me buy one. And then I brought people in and be like, look, this is why. And as soon as they walk in, they're like, oh, I get it now.
That's what I was about to
That
say
is
is we have
experience
experience centers all across our campuses. And I've done this in these analysis meetings. I'm like, hey, we have this situation, what you're asking for over here in this room. Can we schedule another meeting and I'll coordinate it all with the other client? And they're like, absolutely. I want to kind of experience what they, and so that
sounds like
is
sales,
very
Justin.
helpful. Huh?
That sounds like sales.
That sounds like more PM. Like I'm just
No,
coordinating a
No,
meeting.
that is.
I'm not
like
selling
PM,
anything.
That is sales, dude.
No.
Well, I think that
All I did was
there's dual
coordinate a
pressures,
meeting.
though. Well, the issue
And
is
set
that-
expectations on, hey, I want to make sure that you know what you're buying.
No, you're not wrong.
Let's
I
go
think,
over
I think
here.
you're absolutely right. And I think we should do those things when we have good experiences. We should lean into those and use those where we want to see
I
that replicated.
do them for bad experiences too.
Well, sure.
Look at this room.
Go to the-
Don't get me
Look at this
wrong.
trash that I
You
put
don't want to
in.
do that. Come over here and look at this shit. Here's why.
But is that at
No
odds?
joke.
Is that
Yeah.
at odds with having to balance refresh and all this other stuff that's already on our books? We're
part of
trying.
it.
We want to get things into that standard extruded sausage skin so that it meets all the same stuff. Doing really boutique one-off things at the last minute, dropped in the middle of summer. We all know that's going to expend a bunch more time. So we have opposite sides of those pressures. There's one thing we want to do the replicatable thing over and over and over again because that's where our support sits. Somebody else wants to come in and have this high touch, bespoke, unique thing with all the different color swatches and that experience. And then we're selling that. So we're actually trying to sell against our own time that we have to kind of do later on. So it becomes like both ends of this spectrum for me. When you're if you're into that sales piece of it, trying to make the sale.
Well, I think as part of the sales thing, wouldn't it be? I mean, if we keep using that term that way, but we're trying to sell them on the
Experience.
both a solution that meets their needs and provides the experience they want while staying within our defined or identified or supportable standards. And maybe that's where that extra cost seems to always sneak in. Oh, well,
The common kit of parts that make the solution.
yes, I can build you a room like this. It's going to have some extra stuff in it because then it's the same as the other 9 rooms in the same building. And the part-time students that I have here who are going to run over there to look at this when something's dropped offline and they can't hit it on the network anymore will now know exactly where everything is.
But do you get out of the stuff conversation? Because you started to right there, Chris. Like ultimately, what we're
I
all
don't ever
asking
talk
is
about
Oh,
stuff.
I never talk
it's-
stuff.
It can't be about the stuff, but that's how we got into this, right? It got in. Hey, I just need you to buy a TV and hang it up on that wall, and that's very much a transactional stuff-based conversation, and that's not what we're trying to do.
let me take a step back. And so I do have to, amend what I said there. I do talk about stuff. So I did this morning where I was talking about conferencing capability, and I said my recommendation is, and I explained what a conference bar is. I said is a conference bar, and this includes your cameras and your microphones and your speakers all in one unit that sits above the display, and you'll never see it. And they were like, oh, okay. And then to Justin's point, we have one of those elsewhere in the building. I was like, go down to the second floor and look at that one. And they came back and they're like, well, where was it? I was like, it's the thing on top of the display. And, that's it? That's all we need? Yeah. So we do talk about that a little bit, but we don't get into like, let's compare model numbers and this
No.
versus that, or, brands or any of that stuff.
Well, I think you've all had that request. We just need a TV in here. We're going to do Zoom.
Yeah.
We talk about
Wait,
stuff
what?
a lot. There's our clients love to bring up the fact, which they're not wrong, and Chris says this a lot. I don't want a projector. They just look worse than a TV. I have to have a TV in this classroom. Then we have to go through that stuff conversation just with like, that it's not big enough, experience, blah, blah, blah. Students need to be able to see, et cetera, et cetera. And so wherever that comes out, it comes out. But that's pretty much the only time we talk about stuff.
Well, but at that point, you're also talking about, if you keep it broad, you're talking about the different types of technologies to provide the solution they want.
Yeah, and we get into, well, I don't want to walk in front of it. Blah, blah, blah.
You all just made the whole argument. You guys just make this too complicated. We do. I think the
We
very
get
nature
that
of
a
what
lot
we
from
do
local
is-
IT people.
Right. You guys are overcomplicating this, and we all battle that. And we want to meet them and say, this is why this and this. But that very conversation is a confrontation. Like
It is.
you have to have it, right? And so it's healthy confrontation because we're trying to inform them as to why we have our standards and what we're doing.
Let me ask this question. Let me play devil's advocate on what Mark just said.
Devil's advocate.
Well, we haven't gotten to double yet. Someone has to double dog dare on my devil's advocate.
Man.
Have you ever had that conversation where Justin, just like you're describing, hey, there's farthest viewer and there's content and 150% element height and there's appropriate
I'll do
sizes
that
and all-
shit. Like,
But I'm just saying, in general, this
Okay.
is the math we're doing to explain why X
Yeah.
is better than Y. and you, for lack of a better term, you win that argument. You convince them this is what they need. But in retrospect, you're like, damn it, I should have just done it the other way, because that's probably what they would have been happier with from the standpoint of the overall experience of the space, rather than now you've got a big projection screen on the wall or something. I'm just curious, has anyone run into that? Because I have one that comes to mind about once a month that I'm just like, damn it, should have just done it the other way.
I mean, sometimes, but I feel like I have to be the voice of the student or the audience, because no one that I'm talking to thinks about that. And so I'm trying to, argue, for lack of better terms, that no, I need a bigger image if I'm sitting in the back.
Sure.
I don't know if I ever regret one decision over another based on display or TV or projector or whatever. That's what you're asking.
I think if the math is close, I could see your point, Chris.
I've done that. I've cheated that quite a bit.
Like if it's at the 100 inch, I'll do 98, obviously. If it's at 110, it depends on the room. Like if it's on the third floor and they don't have an elevator.
Yeah, this really should be projection, but I can
like
put a 120.
we're doing projector up there no matter what on a 110 inch screen. So sorry.
Yeah.
Do you ever take that stance that if it's a departmental space, like ultimately this is your space and you can do what you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so most of us are kind of advocating for the general purpose or common scheduled space by a registrar. And ultimately you try to inform them. This is the best practices of how we come to these measurements. And I'll walk through the math with them and show them this is what you should be doing. If this was a GP space, this would be how we would do it. And ultimately I'm like, you can make whatever decision you want. It's your department and how you want to spend your money. You can do these things. However, we wouldn't do it this way. Do you have that level of conversation?
Do you support those spaces?
Yeah, there's the question.
Because that's where, we would still support a class in a departmental space. And so I still have limits to those things.
Well, if it's
we're not going to do something that's like radically undersized. Like just like Dustin said, if it's a difference of 100 inch to a 98 inch or vice, like we can fudge that math, but we're not going to die on that hill. It's like, no, it's got to be.
No,
I mean,
so
if it's a teaching space, if it's a classroom with scheduled teachings, that word.
Sure.
I stand firm on a lot of those things. And like, no, if you need a new room, this is what the new room system costs, because this is going to be used for classes and students are paying tuition, and students who, at the end of the day, who we work for, don't know if it's a departmental space or general inventory space.
Yeah, they don't care.
I find this is less like a classroom conversation now. I think this is more those edge use weird spaces that typically fall into this bucket.
If it's, I've got my research lab, I've got my collaborative space, I've got my meeting room, I've got my event space, then it comes down to, look, we need to be able to support this. If we can stay within, and Larry mentioned before, it's the common kit of parts concept. If you stay within this, it's something we have hot spares. We can swap this out. Hey, that camera died. I got another one. We'll bring it over today, sort of thing. But they're, at the end of the day, they are welcome to go buy whatever weird stuff they want. They just don't get to call IT to come fix it. And I've had some departments like do that, and then about a year later being like, this sucks. Can we fix all this?
So you're selling the as a service model. You buy my stuff, and I will respond accordingly.
Yeah, it's carrot and stick.
Have you all? I got a question. Have you ever all done needs analysis with like your math department or physics department and got into a math conversation about AV?
We've done it.
I try not to.
I didn't mean to. It just kind of happened. That was fun.
Oh,
it was the physics department.
You started explaining the physics behind
with
what you're
image
doing?
size. Yeah, we went through image size, and they were like, "Prove it." And I went, "What? Right here on this whiteboard?" They're like, "Yeah, okay." And it went for 30 minutes. It was fun. Yeah.
And you won? You won the battle?
They were like, "The math is sound, Justin." It's like, "Thank you."
Still too expensive, but the math.
It's like you all taught me physics. I graduated.
We still only have $100 for this, so I don't know what you're talking. Thanks for doing that.
Our budget's $50. So.
Yeah,
they didn't change their budget, but at least they understand, and that's the goal. Is just if I can make people understand and convince them, the right way, the good experience, then that's the main thing. Because when people complain, then they will have an answer, and that complaints doesn't come back to us, but it still is a bad thing for the students.
All right, so what did we solve here today? We solved
nothing.
Our stuff is still too expensive, but for a reason.
Maybe.
It doesn't have to be too consultant expensive, though. There's a middle ground.
Expensive.
Yeah.
But people are welcome to do their own thing. Just now support becomes an issue.
Right. But we're still just labor. At the end of the day, we're just
throw that
Boots
TV
on
on
the
the wall
ground.
real quick.
just breaking
Cable
down
technician.
boxes and hanging stuff on displays. That's where technology janitors.
Why didn't you know
Install
this
my cable
conduit for?
TV.
Alrighty. Well, with that, we'll put a pin in this one. So, yes, we know our stuff is more expensive than people would like, but it's probably because it's legit for a reason. So,
It's cloud
without being like ridiculous expensive. So,
2.0.
It can be. If you spec the wrong
15-inch
stuff.
wireless touch panels everywhere.
And gold-plated cables.
With monster stuff.
Monster cable.
Okay.
Pair audio. All right. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to talk about, speaking of audio, we're going to talk about a way to make sure your audio is performing at its optimum.
Are we?
Are you tired of noisy signal paths, muddy audio, and equipment that just doesn't sound premium? Introducing the Copper Core Isolation Mat, the revolutionary breakthrough in audio fidelity you didn't know you needed. Crafted from a proprietary rubber blend and infused with trace amounts of real imitation copper, the Copper Core Isolation Mat cradles your AV gear in a warm, resonant hug of science. Place it under your rack-mounted gear, beneath your DSP, or just anywhere near your equipment rack and feel the difference in your soul. Studies we vaguely recall reading suggest copper has energetic properties, maybe even quantum conductivity, possibly even vibes. Engineered by people who once saw a waveform on TV, the Copper Core Isolation Mat is the missing link between your system and pure, unfiltered, plausible-sounding clarity. Copper Core Isolation Mat, because if it sounds better to you, it is copper. Claims not evaluated by actual engineers. Copper presence may be symbolic, for external use only, not compatible with logic. Another fine product by Independent Amalgamated.
Do you guys do that? You put copper between each thing on the rack? It's
Just a tape, just copper tape.
No,
it's
but I have been just draping cable around me so my aura improves.
there's a,
Just a Faraday
I have
cage
stacks
of
of
cable.
spools of cable around here. It's saving all that bulk cable you rip out of
I
spaces.
just wear it around just to
Like Mr. T.
cleanse my feelings.
All right. So for
This is gonna go
our
long. This is gonna go way too long.
our second topic here was I don't remember how this came up, but somebody suggested I'll blame
We were
somebody
getting into a
else.
screaming match around sound.
You asked a really stupid question, is what happened.
Yes.
Well, we're not talking about sound.
We're
Okay,
not
good.
talking about
Thank
sound.
you.
I'm completely off base now.
We're talking about lecterns, sir. Teaching
well then, good.
spaces,
Whew, I got
teaching
worried.
tables,
My
desks,
answer
whatever
doesn't
you want to call
change.
it.
Mark asked a really stupid question.
Yes.
I do want to state at the outset, a podium and a lectern are different things, so please stop referring to them as podiums.
They're different things, which is why there's two different words to describe
Different
them.
words for them. They are not
Correct.
synonymous.
Lots of things have two different
This
words.
is why all your AV stuff is too expensive, sir.
Yes. Because you're specific about words. Anyway, so let's talk about our teaching stations, our lecterns, our desks, whatever you want to call that landing space at the front of a room, at the side of a room, in the corner of a teaching space. What's that
launch
look like?
pad.
How do we like to build them out? Are we still doing the like the equipment, the traditional equipment rack wrapped in just melamine laminate press board? Or are we going more table style? Are we doing these slimline credenzas hidden around, or what are we doing out there for our teaching spaces? What are we seeing out there?
Sit to stand thing.
Yep.
Wedge as much equipment in there as you possibly can until it spills over. You need a big box to put all the other shit in it.
Wait, is that why your stuff's so expensive?
Jam it in there. Fit it in there.
Yeah. I start with the sit a stand thing, and my standard is the box next to it as well.
That
But my sit to
sit-to-stand
stand thing is much smaller. It is the bare minimum. Like, it just meets ADA and that's as wide as it is, and then everything else goes in the box.
That sit to stand thing is more of a luxury here in Kentucky.
Do you
We
bolt
like
things to that sit to stand thing?
No.
Yes.
I like it. I try to.
I bolt half
Chris?
of things to it, and then the rest of it's bolted to the other things.
Is this discussion
thing over
supposed to
here,
be
yeah.
interesting? I'm just
I'm curious why you guys all have equipment racks in your classrooms.
We don't. Not all of them.
You just said you got a box with all the stuff in it.
No, when it gets
do.
when we get to a point where we need more stuff than the
What
the standard
level,
build,
Mark?
it kicks up. We don't have time for that show.
Tier 3 Part B version 4.
You're actually once you get above 3, yes, you have a box.
Yeah.
You're pretty close.
With me, tier 2, all the way up, they all get it.
We're gonna have this tier
I'm
conversation.
not
again.
stepping into this trap.
I think we're due
refuse.
to have this one again because I've made a whole bunch of
I threw that
changes.
nuke out there for a purpose.
Mark, to your question, I bolt every single piece of gear. It's the rare room that I have that has any sort of equipment rack or any sort of box or any sort of place to put stuff. Everything is on the height adjustable sit to stand table thingy. Every single thing.
Are you using micro PCs, small form factor PCs, or all in ones?
Full towers that are the size. No, you're the little mini guys.
That was a lot of
see, I
a
don't
lot
like
of
those.
language
I
that
don't
sounded the same. Micro, form factor, small. Like that was all the same
Yeah.
thing you just said.
They were not the same thing. There was 3 different sizes.
No, I know.
and-
Yeah, the language sucks on all of that.
Different
I used
words.
the
again.
mini micro nanos, but the full size versions.
Full
Kind of
ATX.
point where
Because
I
you
like
get
it
extra
all.
USB with those, yeah.
No, so I use it's a table style form factor. It's got a spot in the back for equipment to hide in. So there's a box, but it's built into said table, into which I can get 6 RU of stuff in there, and I'm not using all 6 RU. And then the only things I put out in on the table itself is here's a rocker switch for stuff, the computer monitor or the document camera, things that are basically instructor and faculty accessible, and then the mini computers there, and that's it. All my stuff is tucked away where they don't even know where
rocker
it
switch
is.
for the monitor.
I
want you
figure
to
out what that
elaborate
was.
on that a little bit. Are you
Is
doing
that
like
120?
manual power on off for
Are
your
you
monitor
putting a
right there?
120 volt switch in?
It's called a PDU, sir.
Oh, you're just laying in there. Oh, you're just
and I
got
just
a
plug
PDU for your.
everything that I can into that, and then if they want to
Okay.
turn that off, they can. But it's just there as a courtesy.
You made it sound like you were.
Why
It
did they
sounded
get to
very
turn that
elaborate. I was
off?
like, cool. This is like
They don't need to
Whack-A-Mole
turn it off,
City.
Larry. It doesn't do anything. All it affects is stuff that they affect.
It
that
turns
they
off
use.
the light or the rocker switch.
They can. People do
The
that.
one next door. Like, what the? What happened?
You guys don't have faculty just rebooting stuff out of random. So
No.
No,
Only
not
when we
They
tell
don't
them
get to do
to
that.
fix it until we
Yeah.
get there.
That's why the stuff that they can reboot are things like the computer, the monitor, the document camera, the courtesy power at the top of the lectern, the motor for the lectern. We've had that one. This won't go up and down anymore. Well, you turned off the power to it, so
That should be always hot, sir.
Yes,
Why?
I agree with Mark.
why
on
would
this
that
one.
be always hot?
'Cause
So that it
should
works
be.
when they expect it to.
Maybe they shouldn't have turned off the thing that is behind a little flip top and has a
They
light on it.
didn't. The person who was in the class last time
Then
did
they
on
need
their
to go
way
talk
out.
to their colleagues. So I'm trying to minimize the
'cause
amount of
that's
cables that are
gonna
running to
happen.
a wall.
Yeah.
Hey,
I try to avoid flip switches.
you guys are
You know what's
smart.
You would
best
much
is to get the
rather a
PDUs with
button.
the buttons on the front that don't feel like buttons, but they're soft buttons. And when people brush up against them, it turns shit
Oh,
on
yes.
and off.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about?
Atlas makes a line of those, and you have to go into the firm.
There's a
into the,
few manufacturers that make those.
Well, at least the ones I've used from Atlas, yeah, they have individual receptacle controls there that people don't realize they can bump into and turn off.
uh-huh. And it's
you
not
have
a button. It's just like a.
It's a button toggle thing, but yeah, you have to go into the web interface and turn that off. So I don't buy
Well,
those.
one-
Don't use any of that stuff. Don't
One
do
manufacturer
Well, not
doesn't even look like a
anymore.
button. It's flat and you just brush up against it.
Don't do
So,
anything across
do
the
we
board where
start-
somebody can get power on your lecterns. Don't do that.
How
Or remember to turn those buttons off.
with furniture and end up with electricity.
Maybe we need to have a PDU conversation instead of lectern.
It's gonna blow your minds when I tell you guys I have 2 PDUs in every lectern.
Really?
No.
Why do you have so much shit?
Reference the previous conversation. We know your stuff's expensive.
So
Because one of them is my PDU, which is connected to the internets, so I can reboot.
So each
stuff.
one of yours is like $1,000.
No, it's like $340.
Okay.
And then
mine's $7.99.
well, I don't buy.
That's called an
monoprice brand
extension
power.
cable,
From
Jamie.
Monoprice.
Right, and it works.
Physics is
24/7.
physics here, man. Like that's what we're talking about.
Electrons.
Okay, so what else
So you
is out
guys
there?
are just stacking power strips and jamming crap all over the place.
I use
Yes.
at least 3 extension cables in my lecterns every time.
What?
You realize those are all drawing from the same circuit.
I guess that was a joke. That was a bad joke. Okay,
Yeah, that
bad
was
joke.
that went right over.
It didn't land correctly. Yeah,
No,
it wasn't well
Okay,
grounded.
well, you're not supposed to be doing that anyway because I think that's against electrical code.
it is.
yes, you can have
Yeah,
two
see,
strips
that
into
was
strips.
Bad joke. All right, fine. Let's move on.
Raul's going to come over and fix all this.
So, yeah, friend of the show, Raul chimes in and says, no racks in the classrooms, only lecterns with shelves where you can mount your devices. Correct. That's what I do, Raul. But apparently people
pretty much
hate
what we are.
the fact that I've got power control available to people.
You're just you're splitting hairs because you've strategically engineered a rack into your lectern.
Damn right
Yeah.
I did.
I mean,
It's the
you
same
have
thing.
equipment module worth of space bolted to the back of your lectern. It's the same thing.
Mine's just easier to get to.
Mine is not.
I think
easy
this
to
is
get
just
to deliberately
this is an
so.
aesthetics thing and a servicing thing, and I would rather have the RU next to it so I can just go into the back of that
and
thing
mine
versus having
allows
to take the whole
me-
thing apart.
The
Mine
RU next
allows
to
me
it
to
is-
have a whiteboard top right below the dot cam so they can write on it if they want
Yeah.
to.
How do
the
you
RU
clean
next-
those, Larry? Can you
The rack
can you
next
talk
to it
about
allows you to
cleaning?
have
Who's cleaning your
surface
whiteboards,
space.
Larry?
It's part of room checks. It's not bad actually. I
Do
haven't
you
had
ever
any
have to
that are
like
too
get a
bad.
ticket and replace it and like put a new sticker on? Like, how do you fix that?
Not yet.
All of your faculty have ink all over their arms all
No,
the time.
because I
Uh-huh.
don't think any of my faculty actually use that
Well, there's
feature.
that.
So it's just there.
We're gonna have to have that conversation about document cameras because that's
I
This is
gosh.
so
checked
riveting.
my stats and they're still being used. So,
Okay.
during room checks
On your expensive
stats?
dashboard.
on my expensive dashboard.
in the cloud.
That maybe
It's
you
not
should
in the
just
cloud.
replace your dot cams every 3
All right,
years
this,
and
this should be a conversation for another
not
day,
pay for a
because
dashboard.
So yeah,
I'm
there's some
not
furniture
convinced you're
rooms.
using dot cams correctly.
Who knows?
You aren't or they aren't.
He's not.
Is
I have
anybody?
no idea. What's
And by
going on.
him, I'm talking about Larry.
Impersonally.
Oh, it's attack.
This is what happens when Larry shows up.
Why don't show up
Fridays.
on Fridays?
Drive that needle in there. All right, so consensus is everyone does lecterns differently, and everything that everybody
No,
does.
you do.
Everybody that
Yeah.
everything else does is stupid.
Everybody else does a table with a rack.
Nice.
You have some kind of elaborate power scheme that you need an electrical engineer to wire in.
There's
and you have
two
way,
cables.
way more
They
trust
plug
in
into
your
the
end
holes
user.
in the wall.
With
Where
a
they
rocker
go.
switch, so it turns it all off on everybody when they least
Just
expect it.
daisy
You guys
chain
use
them and be
rocker
happy.
switch.
I'm imagining one of those rocker switches, one of those fast cars that run on like nitrous or something. You pop that hood. And is that how your lecterns sound whenever they boot up?
Yes.
Except that
But all
his-
it does is drives the height adjustable thing faster.
his administrator
fast.
one has 2 keys in it, so that you have to do them simultaneous from across the room in order to turn it off.
Actually, you do need you need one key twice to get to the stuff in the back. So in theory,
But you have to turn it
yes.
at the the same time, so you have to send 2
No, you can
students
turn it
out.
differently.
I bet it's a CH751 key too. Those work on everything.
No, it's a what's the part T 100 T from Timberline. So
You
don't
know
come to my
your
campus.
lectern key, for those of you actually still listening to this bullshit, your lectern key will drive a lift, by the way. Go try it out.
and start a 1986 Ford F-150.
Probably so.
All right, so what you're saying is we've driven this one in the ground, Justin. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Maybe.
Wow.
Okay. Jeez, wow, you guys are harsh on this.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
4/5 of us agreed.
we're
and then we
practical
also
on it.
agreed.
I just
that
don't know
you're
what
doing
else to
it
say
wrong.
about lecterns.
Nothing. There's nothing to say.
Okay. I guess
Wedge it in there, bolt it in, service accordingly.
You need at
Sure.
least 30 U for 6 U worth of equipment. I don't understand the math here. It's easy.
you guys are very old school teaching stations. Get with the times. Get rid of that stuff. Well, we've managed to ruin yet another episode of AV SuperFriends Off the Rails. You can contact us with questions, topic ideas, or general complaints at mailbag@avsuperfriends.com. If you complain loud enough, we might just invite you on the show.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.
The opinions expressed by the AV SuperFriends are solely those of the individuals and do not represent their respective institutions, organizations, companies, or clients.